I got Tall. These guys are from the band Kadeema. I believe, what's the record label been signed since your inception, which I think is really cool. Pretty rare.
They're called Hidden Pony Records.
Hidden Pony Records. That's kick-ass. So you guys have been signed. You guys are touring. We're going to do a tour, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. But then COVID shut that right down. But these guys are a Toronto band. They're putting together, I'm going to call it rock. Like, it's a rock band. Let's be honest here. There's a lot of I remember hearing like Smashing Pumpkins sound. I remember hearing sounds from like blues elements, sounds from kind of psychedelic elements. And overall, I would say it's just a kick-ass rock band that you guys are put together. So welcome, Jimmy. Welcome, Tal. And let's get this show on the road. What was that you were just showing me? It was a 64.
Oh yeah, it's this little baby. We're talking about guitars just as we were setting up for the call. And,
that's right.
I pulled this one up. This is Jimmy's guitar that he got here, but we got introduced to this model and make of guitar, I think in the process of making Napoleon Tornapart, our EP.
Okay.
By our wonderful producer, Isaac Carpenter. And yeah, he just has all these amazing vintage guitars at home and like fuzz pedals that are like, one of the, staples of our record was like this really old Sears fuzz pedal that was just, we tried so many different ones and that was just the only one that was like that much better than anything else. So yeah, so it became like one of those things that just became a staple of the record that, a couple elements and then this particular guitar. And, Jim happened to find one here when, how long ago was that, Jim? Like 6 months ago?
Yeah, it was a while back. It was probably 6 months back. And
so he had to have it. And now we get to use it
out.
Now we get to use it for new music. So it's a Harmony Bobcat and it's a 66, we said.
Did you have that at the Rose?
No, we haven't figured out yet for live how to incorporate it in, because it's a lot of the lowers in the register and I play a lot of the highs in the register on guitar. So
yeah,
we're gonna toy with it soon.
Isn't that interesting how much like a guitar's tones can change how you use? Like when I first started playing, I had truthfully no idea how like overlapping from tones and like, okay, if I got Mike on the bass, I don't want to be playing low ends with my guitar because it's going to get muddy on stage. And like, you just don't think about stuff like that when you're just starting.
It's a whole language, and I'm lucky to have Tal Weisman in the band for that language.
Yeah, Tal is the tone guy.
Tal's the everything guy.
No, I deal with sounds and frequency ranges for a living, so it just happens to be my my area. So yeah, no, it's cool though, because in the previous band we were in, Jimmy wasn't playing as much guitar, and then this time around, I joked in our first show that we negotiated that Jimmy would play more guitar and I get to talk more on stage. But no, it's actually been awesome because having Jim play like electric guitars that are like, we have a song called Beat Up Car, and it's just impossible to play it with one guitar and really make it as impactful as it should be. And I'm playing a lead part, and having Jimmy just play that big fuzzy dirty sound underneath is like, it's kind of like this it feels like a treat now after so many years of just being like one guitar player. So in those songs where we do get to do like the dual guitar thing, it's awesome. So having to figure out which guitar Jimmy plays live based on the song, based on the on the playing style, things like that, it's been cool.
Like it shows that you're really putting a lot of thought in how you want the song to come across, like a lot of thought. And like just for basics for the audience, like if you know guitars, you probably know this, but you can have a humbucker, which is two pickups right beside each other, or you can have like a single coil, and they sound entirely different. like they actually sound entirely different. And it wasn't until I was buying a guitar and I asked the guy at the store, like, what's the difference? And he's like, dude, just plug them in and do it. And then you start to say, like, holy crap, like they actually sound way different. So I thought that was really cool. Like those are the kinds of things that I was paying attention to when you guys did your show at the Rose. And I thought it was pulled off really well, the different layers.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we have put a lot of thought into it. Like I said at the show, as an afterthought. I mean, when we were recording the album, we weren't putting any thought into it. We just kind of let our producer take the reins, and
Yeah.
and
That
just
was Isaac, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And if I remember, it was Imagine Dragons.
No, he plays drums for AWOL Nation.
AWOL Nation. Okay. I had to ask. Similar vibe, but different. AWOL Nation. Okay.
Yes.
Dope. I actually really dig the song Sail by them.
Yeah, well, we joke around that that he plays that song on tour every night, and which is why we have to always listen to him.
Fair
His
enough.
final say.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's. I guess like it's kind of bittersweet to write a kick-ass song, right? Because you write it and then you play that song till people don't want to hear it anymore.
They've been gifted with a plethora though of bangers, if you will. It's just nothing to that level of commercial success, but it's fun. I always have that sort of like every 6 months I just dig into their inventory and their catalog. And
Really?
yeah. That what's the second album called, Tal?
I don't remember album names, but
It's a beast though. But
thank you for saying that. I'm gonna dig into the band a little thicker now that you've said that.
I would
a lot of
honestly
cool stuff.
say, yeah, I think Jimmy's absolutely right about that. Like, they have so many good tracks. I would even say that I think, to my personal taste, Sail doesn't even come close to being like one of their best songs. That's what I think.
That's awesome.
If you listen to their new record, they had songs like Fiesta. What was it called, Jim?
I'm so bad with song names. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
No problem.
Fiesta Fever, I think it's called. Fiesta Fever is amazing. The Best is another song that was huge. Like you would turn on The Edge for a good couple of months, and every time I would turn on The Edge, the song would be on, and it's really, really, really just good, catchy, interesting rock music.
Yeah, they had Rivers Cuomo on Pacific Coast Highway in the movies as well too, which is a banger. Like there's a lot of good stuff to dig into.
Yeah,
and then Here Come the Runts just has like Handyman, which is an absolute beast, and there's a lot of good stuff. I'm so bad with music names of any sort of nature, but there's a lot of good stuff. Just stick it on and hit shuffle.
No, I will. I really will. Like, I actually dig that a lot. And one of the things, especially when, like, I like Kadeema's music overall, right? So since I like the music that you guys make as musicians, hearing like someone who I know their taste kind of just through like what you create, for you guys to make a recommendation, it comes from a different spot than just my bro like sending me like some non-musical friend who listens to music but isn't a musician. Like, it's, you actually have to take them a little differently. So yeah, I'll probably spend the rest of the day listening to AWOL tracks.
I won't regret it.
No, definitely not, man.
It's a good day for sure.
What's the writing process for Kadeema? What do you guys do? Like, I take it that it's mostly Jimmy and Tall, or is it like, I believe we spoke with Michael and Cody, right?
Chad.
Yes. I got Cody. Sorry, Chad.
It starts with a C.
It's like so does my name, but it's still not close. Sorry, dude. I apologize. But how do you do the process? What's it like?
I mean,
different every time, to be honest.
Exactly.
Sure.
There really isn't a formula. I think it could be Jim driving and hitting record on his voice note on his phone.
Yeah.
Coming up with a brilliant line, and that just triggers a song. Could be me sitting at home writing a riff. Could be us just hanging out, and then something comes out. Like there are so many ways, but I think maybe the one consistent thing is there's always like I think we like to call them starters. Is like there's something, if it's a riff, if it's a lyric, if it's just one little hook, maybe it's like a part, maybe it's something. but I think over the years we've both avoided writing full songs individually. I just don't think they turn out as well. I think like if one of us comes in with like a beginning of an idea, and we just put it in the room, and if it inspires either one of us, then we go, and that's been the best outcome, I would say.
Yeah, that's cool, right? Because so it's like it doesn't matter where the tip of the iceberg is. We just find the tip, right? And then we bring it in, we put it out there, and then with respect for each other's creative abilities, we kind of explore what the rest of that iceberg would look like if we feel like we want to.
Yeah, yeah. It's good too as well because you don't get too sweet on it as well. Like I think if I came with a finished project, I'd be like, this is done, it's perfect. What do you think? And then if there was any changes to be made, I think that it would be a different sort of dynamic to it. Whereas we can be very blunt, very quick, and very honest if we explore it together, sort of thing.
No, that's a really good point. Like you don't want egos getting in the way.
No, ever.
But I wouldn't even say at this point it's ego. It's just I think it's emotional attachment, if anything.
Demoitis.
Yeah, exactly. It's 100% demoitis. Like it's you write something and you just get stuck into this idea that this is how it should be. And again, but working with Isaac was one of those things that very quickly proved to us that that even if we've played something a certain way for a really long time, it could always be better.
Yeah, and even the experimentation of like we would spend a day on a bridge or a good 3 hours on a bridge going completely out this direction just for us to go, the first way was the best. But the chemistry and the build of like watching the guitars being thrown across the room to each other. And it was like, try it on this with this pedal quick. I'm going to wire it in. It was that quick nature of not being able to think, just play and sing it like this and do this and do that. It was such a cool chemistry builder for us as well too, which kind of like the way that we're talking about it is basically there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just not having an ego and just growing and letting the song kind of go where it wants to be.
I really like that. And a lot of the artists, and I don't even mean necessarily musicians, although musicians also, but the best artists that I have come across, they're not delicate with their art at all. Like kind of what Jimmy was saying, like they're very blunt. They're like, oh, I wrote this, but I think it's shit. Or like, what, like they're just they're writing things and throwing out a zillion things like that they don't want. And they're keeping the few they stumble upon that are kick ass. But you can't have broken feelings if you get rid of most of it. Like like Pink Floyd has a huge catalog, but I only love like 7 songs.
Right.
But those 7 songs, I've listened to them a million times and I love them. Right. Like, so, but how many songs did they write that I'm like, I'll listen to something else.
oh yeah. We definitely feel that. I mean, we've written so many songs that are just sitting, like some of them are, they might be great, but they're just not, they don't make the cut on a record, or some of them are, not great. Like they're just, we write them and then we listen later and we're like, I don't know where we're going with that. But.
We've had some absolute duds for sure.
I don't know what strain we were smoking that day, but I don't like it anymore.
Let's not buy that anymore.
Hey man, no problem.
Not in the couch, it's in the bin.
That's right. I dig that, man. And so, but you do have a process though, it seems like, where it's like we wait for the inspiration to hit us. There's no pressure on it. When it does, we bring it to the other and we flex, like we start to go from there and kind of develop the ideas.
Yeah. I definitely would say that. But I also think one thing we're very good at, Jimmy and I, is getting in writing mode, where we don't necessarily sit, I know a lot of other musicians who just always write. Like they're always getting together, always writing. I don't necessarily feel that's the right way to do it. Like not for us at least, maybe for other people, but for us, it's always felt like we're both, living life and experiencing things and just gathering thoughts and gathering ideas. And then we decide to go into writing mode, at which point we're, meeting a lot more often to write. And, for example, in the beginning of COVID, like when things got really shut down, and we realized, wow, we're not going to be playing shows anytime soon. And, the world was going through things, and we were going through things personally, and there was a lot to talk about. We just got together, and I think we wrote like 13 new songs within the matter of like a couple of months. And it wasn't even, it didn't even feel like we were trying it. It just happened because there was stuff to talk about, there was stuff that was on our minds. We thought that last September or so we'd be going into recording it, but then things kind of went bad again, and it just kind of kept piling up. So we don't, like, I'll say this officially, we don't really have any updates about when new music is coming out, but we definitely have a lot of new material we're sitting on. So
teaser your teaser.
There's always new stuff coming. It's just when is it like being released and all that jazz.
A lot of the times too as well, you might not be able to deal with the subject matter at hand right at that time, so you might not be able to put a proper hat on said subject matter and be able to work it out, if that makes sense as well too, because you're not done healing yourself with it.
For sure. Yeah, that's stuff. Look, good art is about heavy stuff. Like, let's just say it. Good art is about heavy stuff. And you if you're going through something heavy, like you might write a lot of emotional stuff, but you might be able to spin it in a way that's a lot more impactful if you're not going through it, but it's in the past now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well said. Well said. I dig that. So what's the team look like behind you guys? Is it just you two pushing out as much as possible? I know you guys, you're with, you're signed to a label. Like, what else are you doing to really get this? Like, what does the structure of Kadeema's music distribution kind of look like?
So basically there's been some kind of, I guess, over the years of Jimmy and I doing music together, whether it was with Ascot or now with Kadeema, we've built a team. I shouldn't say built. We didn't build anything. It was we were lucky.
It kind of falls into place every time. Every person every time says, "Yeah, it just sort of happened."
Yeah. We got lucky, I think, because the first entity we really got connected with was Slate Music, who we were lucky enough to get hooked up with, and they are amazing. They're, if you're in the music industry in Canada, you know what Slate Music does for not just music, but musicians and music festivals and award shows and anything you can possibly imagine that had to be funded and supported in any shape of and form. I think, Slate Music's been there throughout this time. And so for us to be involved with them from the get-go was pretty special. I mean, I think in 2014, they started working with us, and it's been really, really good. And so through them, we met Mike Renault, who's known widely as Parkside, who is Hidden Pony Records and management. I mean, he has a whole team with him too as well, but he is the main sort of, he's the head of both companies. And we've met Parkside and started slowly communicating and talking about ideas musically and not so much musically, but more so like around the concept of what the band should be in terms of how we, I should say this. He's a very, very big believer in solidifying the concept of what you are and really boiling it down to like, what is it that you would like to say to the world? Just figure that out. And once you figure that out and you can put that in writing, it'll make everything in your life easy. And that was a big thing that he made us realize. And when, our relationship with him grew and we felt very comfortable and we felt like this guy is just, what we need and what he brings to the table is, priceless. So we've gone on to working with Hidden Pony Management, And when it was time to release our record, we released it with Hidden Pony Records, which is his label.
Of course.
And also, I believe, and again, this is where, you know, our level of knowledge kind of stops. I believe Universal Music Canada is involved with some of the distribution.
Okay.
There might be others, but I think that's the one I can like safely sign off on.
I dig that, man. And the thing in there that stood out for me and I really liked a lot was find out who you are as a band, as an entity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn that back on you. Who is Kadeema?
Yeah.
Oh, we have to go now.
Yeah. Thank you for the interview. Good night.
Just kidding. Yeah, you don't have to answer it. Listen, like these are tough questions. That's a really hard one, but once you flush it out, like I can see how that would help direct almost every decision that a band would make, right? Like if you're just trying to perform on the street and get known there, you're going to make a lot different decisions than if you're trying to be bigger than Beyonce.
Well, also it kind of like just goes down to the fact of like your personality and who you are as a human too. It makes you kind of like self-reflect enough that like when we look at Kadeema, it is the friendship between Tal and myself, and it's the fact of that just boiling over and coming through, and lighthearted. We don't take ourselves too seriously with much of anything unless we're playing the song that we're playing or writing the song that we're writing. It's one of those things that like just having fun with life and just continuing through and being tongue-in-cheek with the stuff that sucks and having fun with it and playing with it and just trying to get that stuff across to the planet, to not take yourselves too seriously and kind of just be you and have more personality, because it was a big growth period, even from like the ending of Ascot's to jumping into the new stuff with Kadeema, where it was like you look back and it was very like there's no personality to even the social media side of things, because we were just, here it is sort of thing. And we were almost scared to be ourselves. And then with the Kadeema stuff, we just kind of really let go of it. And we're just like, this is us. This is what we like to do. Take it or leave it. Have fun with it. If you want it, you can hang out with us. If not, cool. We're still going to do our thing. And I don't know. It was a lot of growth between like ourselves and as a unit and individually, I think.
Would you say there's less fear of rejection?
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's that kind of take it or leave it mentality. And you saw we were playing to an empty theater at the Rose and we were still having the time of our lives.
Yeah, you were going all out. You had a plan to go on tour, right? That was the game plan. It's like to take as many shows as possible, but then COVID hit.
We were building to have our existence be on down south in a van, just on radio show touring and whatever gigs we could get our hands on, basically just completely burn ourselves out with the record, but with the smile on our faces.
It's service, right? It's service.
Yeah.
So is that still the plan when COVID's over? As soon as this happens and they're like, okay, everything's open up, we're going ham?
If we're still if we're still in our in the age that we're at right now,
if it doesn't take a decade.
if I'm not walking with a cane at that point, then yeah. Or maybe
from now.
Yeah, or maybe better yet, if I'm walking with a cane.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. You could use it like a slide on the strings for the guitar, man.
Yeah, man. I'll put a GoPro on it and
You could do the Jimi Hendrix on the mic stand, but on your walker.
Could do the Jimi Hendrix thing when I get on my knees to play on the guitar, except I won't be able to come back up.
We'll be down there for the rest of the set.
That's savage. That's cool, man. Your logo and your photos are they have a very specific taste. You know what I mean? Like you do have a brand. Did you work on that, or did you just like pick the font? Because there's two ways to look at it. For me, when we pick a logo, I'm like, guys, just pick a fucking logo. Like for me, but I know some people, they take years to pick a logo and it's got to be specific and all of that. Where do you guys fall?
I mean, Jimmy and I have a very similar taste when it comes to things that are Kadeema. We've done this long enough together that we know we know what we both like, but we also know visually what the music is saying. And then to top that off, I'm very, very lucky that my lovely wife, Adi, is a designer for a living. And that's what she does. She designs, anything from publications to logos to album covers to what have you. And, she was very, very excited about this new project. And she just got creative and came up with some ideas. And yeah, we have this character called Roller Bro that you can see every now and then. It's this being that's on roller skates, and that was originally like Jimmy found this image of this roller skating woman that was very like, I don't know, something about it just felt very right for our tongue in cheekness. And then we found this photo, this joking photo. I don't know if I should say where it came from, but it was like this really, really funny photo. Anyways, we took
Jimmy's face was interesting because I don't know it, but Jimmy knows it, and he's like, "Is Tal going there?" And I'm just like, "What is it? I don't know."
I I don't want to go there because I'm not scared of offending people, but this would be really offensive. So.
You have to maintain a certain amount of professionalism, and
Mystery.
I appreciate you auto censoring yourself out.
It's courtesy. It's courtesy.
Know what it is.
It's courtesy towards those who may find it very offensive.
Sure, man, no problem, no problem. So you found a funny photo, and it seems like you kind of mixed them.
Exactly, and that just, we would just look at it, and I don't know, it just made us feel good, and we even made stickers of that character. So that came up, and then there were just a bunch of like imagery and like, a couple like little symbols and things like that just seemed to fit. They just seemed to fit the narrative, of what we were trying to say musically, but in a visual sense. So yeah, so my wife just kind of put everything together, and that was what we needed for the record, and that's how it came across. And I think later on, when it was time to put the album together, and we needed to choose a name for the album, there were, like always, there are names floating around, and Napoleon Tornapart just sounded funny.
I love it.
And
very visual too, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, there's so many. Sometimes we say stuff that we just say it, but then when you analyze it, it actually makes a lot of sense.
It's like, what's her name said the same thing. Phoebe Bridgers was like, the dumbest ideas usually become the best ideas. And she said that, and I was like looking back at the Kadeema stuff that we've done, and a lot of the times the dumbest ideas become the best ideas. And it's just because it's so off the cusp and just like out of left field that we're just like, it works, and it's something that is different from the normal. So it seems to be working, so we'll keep going with it, I think.
Yeah, I dig that. So you guys, like, your whole band is built on this principle. Is like, Carter, like, we did all these things. Like, we picked the one that we liked the more. We picked these characters, and I think the characters could catch on, by the way. I like that. I dig that. I always thought it would be cool to have like maybe a logo that has like the name in it, and then this other kind of logo that's just like be plaster everywhere. And for you guys, I would love to see a rollerblading alien or whatever this thing actually looks like. Just plaster. I love that, like, little, I don't know, fucking bobblehead alien things on roller, but like that could catch on. That could be a band's thing. Like, it frustrates me that most bands are so close to having something like that, but they don't try.
Yeah.
I think we just have too much fun with stuff like that to not do it, And again, like what Jimmy said before, where in the past we may have been a bit more scared of being our true selves. Just because we didn't know, and there's a lot of things you learn, if there's maybe one thing I can, because you talked about how, okay, like, you're a musician, you made a record, whatever, and then what? I think that's a big thing, because being really comfortable with who you are and how you are and the things that make you is what eventually is going to help you the most. It's going to help you a lot more than trying to be something you're not, or trying to appease certain entities that are in your life, whether it be, bad management, which we've had, um, people who don't understand what we're doing as the label, which we've had, things along those lines. And, and again, it's not their fault. They're just trying to do their job, but they might not be the right fit. And we've at times in trying to be, more team players, so to speak, we've tried to adapt and adjust, and I just don't think it works, and you won't be happy doing it because you won't be behind it fully. And I think one of the best feelings I personally have ever had was, getting on the plane back from LA from finishing our record and thinking to myself, I love this thing. I think this is the best thing we've ever done. I'm so excited to go forward with anything that has to happen next. And what making that record allowed us was to say, no, this is who we are. This is how we're going to make this thing happen. And because we felt so strongly about the record, I think it gave us confidence to come and say, no, this is who we are visually. This is who we are live. This is who we are, in terms of any marketing or any I don't know, branding, whatever you call it. Like, we didn't even have to think about it that way. We just went out there and just explored ourselves in different mediums, but it was always true to what we are and what we want to be. And I think that's, it made it so much easier. And it's just like, I don't know, hey, you want to have fun in front of a camera and like make some Instagram content? Cool. All right. Let's write a song after. Cool.
And you know what? It's more effective like that too. So not only is it easier to do, but in my experience, like I'm just very like watch stuff, put things together, think about it. Like if you are actually acting like how you are, it's going to be easier to do and you're going to do it better and people can see. So because you're like, yeah, as soon as you're not being you, you're not committed to it 100%, but it's the commitment of who you are. And then if so, because naturally someone's going to be in agreement. Like some people are going to disagree with you and some people are going to agree with you. But if you can be actually who you are 100%, those people who agree with you will identify that faster and they'll select into wanting to support your band way quicker than if you were, partnered with a label who doesn't understand you and they're trying to take your image this way and you're hoping your image goes this way. And then you're like catering to this half off image. No. Like, yeah, guys, I want it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes balls to say, though. Cojones.
Yeah, maybe balls, or maybe just takes, a good team
behind you.
Yeah.
To be honest, like it's they kind of, sorry to jump in, Tal, but they kind of gave us more freedom to do this stuff and to really sort of dig into ourselves and see what we're about and see what we want to do, which in the same thing, when you're discovering yourself in that manner, it makes life more refreshing as well too, as you grow with it, because there's, I don't know, it just, like, it's endless. It becomes endless, and it becomes that thing of like, when you go to write a song initially and you're like, oh, I've only probably got about 10 songs in me. But then you start hitting a stride with how you want to write and how you want to be. And then all of a sudden it opens up and you're just like, oh, I could write hundreds of songs, like millions of songs if I wanted to, like down the line, exaggerating. But it's one of those things that it's the same sort of thing with this, where you're being yourself and it's a constructive, positive way of doing things. It just opens the ceiling for you so that you can discover more and more and more, because it doesn't feel phony. It doesn't feel false. It doesn't feel packaged in a gift wrap by a stylist, like, do this and this is how you have to be. And it's like, oh shit, I don't like that.
No, I dig it, man. I really mean that. Yeah. And like the excitement is higher when someone gets behind it. Like the enthusiasm is there when someone gets behind it. Like, because you don't feel like, look, if you feel like you're exerting willpower to do something, just like lifting a weight, you're going to run out of willpower. You're going to need a break. Mm-hmm. But if you set it up in your mind that you just feel like you're just being you and this music is coming out of me because that's who I am, well, now I'm not exerting willpower. I'm just being this badass writer who makes all these songs and they just come out of me. And Carter, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. I'm just writing music, and I could write a million songs if I wanted to, because that's who I am.
Pressure's off.
That's really interesting. Pressure's off, and yet the results are in, which is cool.
Who figured? Like, who would have thought? You know,
The universe is strange, man.
if you have to think about a song and think this has to be pop, this has to be, this has to have mass appeal, then you're already trying and you're already asking. Whereas if a song happens to be pop and happens to have mass appeal, then that's just what that song did. So people are going to go and gravitate towards it because it just sounded like it. And I think one thing that you can see these days in what we call pop music is that there is no such thing as pop music anymore. I think what becomes popular is what people decide is cool and they want to hear more of. And it doesn't have to have the catchiest chorus, and it doesn't have to have it doesn't have to be 3 minutes. It could be whatever they want it to be, as long as they think it's good and they want to hear it again. And
man. And the commitment of the artist. Like I'm starting to learn that, because like you can't say the song doesn't matter, because the song matters a lot, but the commitment to the song almost matters as much or more than the song that you're playing. Like if you played a song proficiently on stage, like you hit every single note, but you weren't as into it, versus if you get super into it, but you hit a couple open notes and they don't sound as good, people will way prefer you get way into it and make a couple mistakes than play it safe, but play the whole song exactly correctly.
Can confirm.
Yeah. No, it's the weirdest thing, man.
We're very good at the getting into it bit.
I know that.
Also very good at getting a bunch of open notes. And,
you gotta, dude. Like,
but you never hear anybody come. I've never heard anybody come to us after a show that that felt good to others. Say, that show is amazing. Wish you didn't hit those couple of notes. Wish you guys didn't go off time on that one song. And it's like, are you here as a critic or as a fan? Like, what are you here to do? And like nobody ever does that though. Like people generally don't go out to see shows or consume music because they're trying to judge your performance. Like that's why you have the Olympics. When you're like, I don't know, whatever, Olympic diving, and then you have people with the scores, like,
well, even or like a battle of the bands, right? Or like America's Got Talent. That's what a talent show is for.
Yeah.
But I think people come out to the show to be entertained, and there's nothing more entertaining than like a rocker or a musician like going all out for the song. Like, I don't know, man. People relate to that. They can feel you're giving it your all.
Yeah, there's something real about it.
And that's what they want to see, man. I dig that. I have a couple last questions for you. Mm-hmm. But before we go there, where can people find your stuff? Where can they find Napoleon Tornapart? Released last June.
It's everywhere. It's on Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music.
It's everywhere.
Apple Music, like all over. YouTube.
Cool, man.
And then, just through Instagram, you can find all our link tree and all that sort of fun stuff.
The band is called Kadeema, Kadeema, means forward in Hebrew.
Yes.
Also, your hometown, is that in Ontario?
No, I wish.
Where's your hometown?
No, in Israel.
Oh, shit. Didn't know that. Okay.
If you look up Kadeema, it's actually spelled Kadeema, like the name of my hometown. We just changed the spelling, so it's not, there's all kinds of issues that can happen with that. But if you look up Kadeema, it'll show up on a map. So
okay.
In Israel.
Dope. I like that. I will have to do more research next time so I look more geographically accurate.
It's all good.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, I asked you this question when you guys were on stage, but I would love like a slightly more drawn out answer this time because we have the time. And then another question that I haven't asked yet, but this is my favorite question. I love this question. Here we go. You can't say music, but what is one skill that has helped you the most aside from musical skill to get to where you are? I love this question. We get a zillion different answers. And like, what would you say for you guys has helped you a lot that maybe you weren't, expecting to help you?
Being a nice human being is
Don't
what I
be a
said
dick.
last time as well. Don't be a dick to anybody that you meet. I think what was the secret show that we played, Tal, with Ascot's way back when? Opening
So,
for the country artist.
Live at the Lake.
Live at the Lake. So
Yeah.
we played this gig with them, and then we were always super friendly to all the road crew, everything. Some of the best mates we found from touring and playing shows have been from different road crews and stuff like that. And actually, one of the guys, we met him at Way Home after, and he was setting us up, and it was like a perk to his step, and he started working like that much harder, and we were entirely grateful for it. And he was like, yeah, I remember you from Live at the Lake. You were super friendly back then. And it was one of those things that you just you gotta be nice to everybody and be as friendly to everybody as you
100%
possibly
agree
can,
with that.
because it helps situations for everybody.
100% agree with that.
I would I obviously agree with that as well, and I would expand that into saying not just be a good and nice person, but also don't ever, in no matter what situation you're in, think that just because you're the person performing that you're above anybody else. You're
100%.
the stage crew that is there before you and leaves after you, as Henry Rollins said. They're just as important to this show as you are. And I think, we've built over the years, we've built relationships with people that we've gone on tour with who weren't the band, who were, if it's a lighting person, if it's the front of house guy, if it's the merch guy for the other band, like these are all people that you're on tour with, you're on the road with. And, just because they're not the artist, it doesn't mean that they're not like the coolest people ever. And some of the people that you can actually sometimes ending up learning more from. So don't ever think you're above them. And in fact, I would say if there's one skill I would suggest acquiring is be inquisitive with people like that, because in my personal experience, I've learned so much just having conversations with these kind of professionals and the things that they can teach you about what you do.
Oh, it's
Because because they've seen not like a band like you, they've seen Metallica, like they've been side stage where, when Guns N' Roses are doing something, and they can tell you how those guys and gals do it. So, take a second and talk to them, because they might have a couple of things to teach you.
That's some good ass advice from both of you. I really like that answer. And you're absolutely correct. Like, how easy would it be? Oh, I'm the artist, I don't need to talk to those fucking people. But
we've seen it a million times, man.
buddy,
It's just
and
brutal.
like, do you not think that the stage grip learned something beside Guns N' Roses? Like, of course they did. And if you were nice to those people, then maybe they would say, hey, here's a tip for you, and that tip you can carry with you forever, and it's better for your life.
Exactly.
Don't be a dick, man. 100%.
Amen.
That's a recurring theme here on Drivewire when I ask that question, is networking and meeting people and not being an asshole. Because all things the same, look, like there's 1.5 million guitarists who are really good on stage, and like probably the one who people don't fucking think is awful is gonna get the gig over the people that people think is awful. Like, it's so easy to think about, but so commonly misstepped.
Yep.
100%. That was a good answer. I haven't had those two answers like that before, so thank you. I appreciate that. Last question. Here you go. You ready? Oh, maybe I'll do two. I might do two. I don't know. Here we go. If you were new, what? So like you came out, you got your demo-itis, but you did a demo. You really believe in it. Like, it's good, right? Like, you have talent. You believe in this music. What do you do next?
Visit Tal Weisman.
There you go. That was a good plug.
Thank you, Jimmy. During COVID or not during COVID?
Let's go. Like, I want to say not during COVID. Like, I want to say not. Like, typically, what would you do? Like, maybe give a shout out to what you would do now. But yeah, like if there's not a pandemic standing in your way.
I think if you have a new recording and you're ready to go, one thing we've noticed was a very, very big element in what we were doing was the fact that right out of the gate, we had stuff that was backlogged. So we had a bunch of content that was ready to come out so that when somebody found out about us, they had more to dig into. And even though we didn't have a single song out yet, we had a bunch of Instagram posts, a bunch of teasers, a bunch of stuff like that. I think you go and you build your story. I think it's so much more important these days to, before you even, sometimes people like you not because of your music. And let me tell you a quick little story about before we went on our first big major tour, which was opening for Big Rec in 2017. We had a rehearsal, like a kind of final rehearsal, where everybody comes in, like from the label to the management to the agent to and everybody throws in their 2 cents about the set, and because it was a big deal, it was like a big tour for us to get on, and it somewhat elevated and changed our status as a band. One thing that I'll never forget was our agent at the time, Joel Baskin from SL Feldman. He came to the rehearsal and he said something about look, at the end of the day, you're a new band to these people, so that they're not going to listen to your set and remember the songs and go home and fall in love with you because of your beautiful songs. If they're going to fall in love with you, they're going to fall in love with who you are. They're going to remember the person that you were on stage. What kind of stories did you tell? What kind of attempts you made at connecting with them? And I think that is one of the most important lessons I've learned personally as an artist about what should be the secondary pursuit as an artist, which is getting your personality and your story out there. The music obviously is important, but unfortunately in this day and age, your online presence, or even not online, but just like the message that you're trying to convey and the type of story you're trying to tell is just as important. And there are artists that you wouldn't even bother listening to if there wasn't a scandalous piece of information online about them that made them so much more. This new thing with Lil Nas X and this whole the video with Satan and the human blood Nikes and all that jazz. I mean, I don't even know what the song sounds like. I haven't listened to the song, but I know that he has a new song. I know that the video is apparently outrageous. So, and I'm not saying that you should go and start making, shoes with your own blood in them, unless you really want to, and that's your thing.
Kadeema too.
Yeah.
Wait, if you want to.
Yeah. Listen, man, if you're not hurting anybody else. But I would say, if I was new, that's what we did. We had to do it, not too long ago. So, except our plan was then to start playing shows and as many of them as we could. But is it an absolute necessity these days? No, you don't have to go and go play shows to build your career. It's just that we love playing shows, and we think it's a very effective way for us to both enjoy what we do and get our music out there.
For sure. And connect, because people do connect with you in person. They and then they go kind of follow and stuff like that. I think it's very important building point.
Absolutely. It's like a campaign trail. What do you think, presidential candidates go on a campaign trail? They can just go online and say, hi, I'm so.
It works, man. That's
for
all.
Dave.
Yeah.
That was a good answer, man. That was a good story too. That was a really good story. And that was good advice from that. What was his name?
Joel Baskin.
Joel Baskin. That's awesome, man. Thank you, Joel Baskin. Good advice.
Great guy.
Yeah, that's right. I heard a saying, it was people never remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel.
Right. That's the thing.
Yeah, if you can make someone feel good or love on this
Atmosphere.
band who deserves the love, then they're going to be like, fuck yeah, that person was awesome. Let's get, or they come back through Toronto and it's like, yeah, let's see what Kadeema is up to now. Or yeah, they were easy to work with and, they made us feel good last time. Let's go for it again. We know it's a surefire and you know what, their set was good.
Exactly.
Cool, man. Really good advice. Jimmy, you want to tackle that one or are you like punting the ball? I don't want to deal with it.
No, I like completely. It's just having more catalog to sort of like back yourself up sort of thing. It's one of those that it's just going to reiterate the fact of what Tao said, where it's like, cool. If you've written the best song in your eyes that you've ever written and you want to stand behind it, write 4 more. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way to get better is by doing it more. So it's like, if this is the hit, make 4 more of them over here, I guess, and just have fun with it.
You'd be surprised at how many very, very, very famous musicians who them to play one thing and be this one style of musician, and then you realize, wait a second, they have this whole other side to them that nobody even knew.
Tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you realize all of a sudden, like, wow, it's, real talent it doesn't just live in one spot. It has to manifest itself in other areas. And I think what you're talking about, I don't know why it is specifically with like metal musicians. I think it's because there's so much technique and skill involved.
Perhaps.
A lot of metal musicians, when you dig deep and you read their influences and you actually, see what they can do other than play very, very heavy technical metal, you realize that they do a whole bunch of other stuff that's just as impressive. It's just not their main focus. And I think now with, things like social media and YouTube and all that, they have a platform to actually put that stuff out. And then, so now we get to find out, which is amazing.
Yeah, I really like that kind of stuff, man. When I saw that, it opened my mind to like, all right, if I want to be a really good blues artist, maybe I actually do have to learn some jazz songs and some rock songs and some, some country songs and learn how to put twang on it. And what does a flat 5 sound like? Like, all of that really opened my eyes to like, all right, I got to stop being, let's use Jimmy's words, I got to stop being in this little box, right? I got to break out of that. And that it was cool, man. It was cool. And Jimmy reminded me that with Seth Rogen, who's an actor doing pottery. I'm like, yeah, this guy's just a creative talent and he's an actor, but here he is pumping out pottery, right?
Well, and that's it. Like, none of it hurts. Is like, I think at the end of the day, nothing hurts. If I go and try and learn a rap song, as long as I'm being correct about the words that I use when I'm doing a rap song or whatever it may be, it's one of those things that nothing hurts because it just opens you up to more creativity. Same thing with ska, same thing like with punk rock. It's one of those things that you can get a flavor for everything. And
yeah, man. A Canadian band that I actually think did that pretty well was Bare Naked Ladies. They have a few songs, like One Week in particular, and a few others where they're like, chickadee China, the Chinese chicken, and make a drumstick in your brain. And it's this like, it's right in the middle of this like light, easy listening country rockish song. Yeah. And then it goes into this fast speaking, but easy to understand, like kind of rap. Like, it's good song, man. Yeah, yeah. But if they didn't explore that rap side, that would have never came out.
No, I think it's really, really valuable to be able to add a different flavor to anything you do because, it just might be the thing that sets you apart.
100%. I don't remember which of my, like, the influences. I listen to a lot of different people, but one guy said, look, if you take one skill and you partner it, like one skill alone will put you in the grouping with like a bunch of other people who are good at this skill. If you partner it with another skill, well, you're going to cut that grouping roughly in half. So if you have your main skill and another skill, I'm a good guitarist and I can do photography for the band. Well, now you're like, if a band happens to be looking for a good guitarist and a photographer, well, you're going to fill the spot and do both. But if you can put a third skill with that, essentially what you're doing is you're making yourself a unique, like completely no one else can do these 3 things because almost everyone's 3 good skills is going to be entirely different.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah,
you can
100%.
reach like being pretty proficient at 3 different things, you put yourself in a league truly of your own, on the combination of skills that you've given yourself, which is really interesting. And this has been a great conversation. I don't mean to hold you guys too much longer. This has been a full entire hour, if you guys can believe that.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Yeah, we're at 10 after 3, a little after that. So thank you. I really do appreciate your time for coming on.
Thank you, man.
This has been Kadeema. You can find their recent album, Napoleon Tornapart, everywhere, as Jimmy has said to me now on stage and on the show. Find it, guys. This is good music. These guys are Canadian. They're local bands. They will be doing tours as soon as they can.
Fingers crossed.
Whenever it's coming out, whenever you can go places and not get arrested.
Well, yeah.
Cool, man. Thank you guys for coming on. I really do appreciate it. This has been an awesome show.
Thanks, Carter, man.
Thanks, Omega.
Yeah, man. I'd love to get
Thanks,
you guys in studio for a live event as soon as COVID's over. We have a few people we're bringing back, but I want to do a live performance with you guys. Maybe we'll jam. I'll bring a guitar too, and we'll make a song. How's that sound?
We're there. Let's do it.
Good.
No pressure every time. Cool, man. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one, okay?
Take care, bro. Thank you.